All right. Hello. Hello, everyone.
What's up?
So I decided to bring Joe on, who is actually, I don't know if he's on this either side, but I decided to bring Joe on to talk about what we're seeing in the lending world. He's a lender. He's my preferred lender. Some of you guys know him. He's taking great care of you and just thought he can give us some really good information on what's going on and what we're hearing out there as far as interest rates, deferment, all that stuff, just keeping you safe. So, Joe, what do you have to share?
Real crazy time. Thank you for having me. This is really cool and fun to do. This 2020 quarantine video fun stuff, but it's a great way to get information out to people. And I think right now there's so much uncertainty in the world that it's good to be able to share information, right? And even though things are constantly changing, it's just crazy times, right? With
Yeah.
unemployment and people losing jobs and furloughs and just all types of craziness that it's cool. It's cool that you've taken some time to put something like this together, and hopefully we can educate a couple of people. We can answer some questions, and if we don't answer questions, then they can call us and ask more questions,
Yeah.
because that's what we're here for, right? Like at the end of the day, it's something that you're really good at, is getting helping people and giving them advice and getting them answers. So I think talking about mortgages is really boring in most instances, but the biggest questions that we're getting are forbearance, right? Is the number one question. I was literally talking to a client today who said, if I can't refi, it's okay. I'll just put in for a forbearance and skip the next 3 months. Um, because we don't know if his wife is going to keep her job or not. So it's a little bit of a joke, right? Like he said it joking, but not joking.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of people are asking about what's forbearance, and it's forbearance is where you delay your mortgage payments. So you forbear the payments. A lot of times it's very similar to student loans, right? I think people people think of forbearance and student loans as, while I'm in school, I don't have to pay, right? That's forbearance of student loans. But when you graduate, guess what happens to those
Okay.
student? You got to pay. Yes.
And right away.
And right away. And people seem to think that mortgage forbearance is different. But when you explain it to them like student loan forbearance, they go,
Uh,
oh, yeah, because I did have to repay those student loans. That's a good point, Joe.
but a lot of what I'm seeing with forbearance is that, yeah, you don't have to pay for 3 months. But one of the ones that I saw was you didn't pay for 3 months, but then after your 3 months, on the fourth month, you had to pay all of that back of $8,800. Well, what if you were just, going out on takeout Tuesdays, ordering all the food, not thinking you're going to have to make those payments? So you really have to read what you're getting,
Yep.
because it's not necessarily deferring it to the back of the loan. Now, I have seen those too, and that changes the note. So that's what thing people have to understand is that when you're changing it to the back of the loan, you're typically re-signing your note, which is saying, okay, on this day in 20, 30, your loan is come due on this day. Instead, it's going to become due, this different month. So it's very different.
Hmm.
And the back of the loan is changing your note. On the forbearance, that's just a letter saying, hey, you don't have to pay, but you're going to pay this whole amount up front. So people really have to read. And I think both of us, like for your clients, my clients, it's, hey, send it over what they send to you, to make sure that is it a deferment to the back, or is it just a deferment to 4 months, one big old chunk, and hopefully you're saving every penny.
Yeah. And the challenge is that people don't know, we don't know what's going to happen in 3 months, right? You delay for 3 months and now we get to August, and do you owe eight, 10, $12,000 in August? If so, can you pay that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because for some people, especially those who are self-employed, they might not be in a position to pay the $8,000 in August, right? Or if you don't work until May or June, who knows what that hole looks like? And so a lot of people are just banking on the fact that the banks will work with them in August,
Yeah.
right? Let me just delay it and see what happens in August. And I've been in the mortgage business a long time, and we've seen that banks don't tend to be real helpful,
Yeah.
right? Like this thing that they're doing is because it was imposed by the government. They said you have to approve this.
Yeah.
But if it comes down to the banks making the decision, that
So I
scares
think
me.
the thing is here is if you can continue making your payments, then please do so. If you
Yeah,
do need a deferment, have someone take a look at it. You have resources. I'm a resource. Joe's a resource. We can read
for
that and
sure.
help you. But just if you can continue to do so because you don't want to get in a bigger hole.
Yes.
So now the other thing that people are, running to you for right now is obviously refinances because of what we've heard with the Fed, and we won't even get to the whole Fed rate doesn't tie into all that. But let's just talk about where are the rates now? What can people see? It was a little wild when this first happened, when we first went on lockdown 5 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah.
just bananas. It's kind of calmed down from there. I've had some really good people getting some really great rates. Is that still happening? And how is that looking for you now?
It is. So it was weird in the beginning of March because interest rates started coming down,
Yeah,
and it was great, right? We're seeing bond market and things go, really low, and then literally it just went sideways, right? Interest rates shot way up. There was a 2 week span where like rates were in the fives.
yeah,
I mean, high four. It was ugly,
yeah.
and a lot of it has to do with back end, secondary stuff, just real uncertainty within the market. So basically, what's happened is the Fed has come in. They did lower the federal funds rate, but that's not what helped interest rates. What helped interest rates is that the Fed is buying mortgages. They're buying mortgage-backed securities. So we're seeing rates at all-time lows, right? I mean, low threes on a 30-year, mid to high twos on a 15-year, right? If you have a low loan to value and a high credit score, I mean, interest rates are great. The
Bananas.
best, the best. Yeah, I mean, the best they've ever been. Like literally ever been. Um, but yet you still have clients. I talked to a lady yesterday, and she told me her first loan was at 24% when she bought her first house. And I told her she can get a 3.25, and she goes, "I'm gonna wait for two."
Oh no.
So you don't know what's going to happen because I've seen it. What typically happens with the market, Vanessa, is it gets worse a lot faster than it gets better.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
like literally today it could be 3.25, tomorrow it'll be 3.5,
Yeah,
3.75, 4%. I mean, it's just like that. So it's a great opportunity to see if you can save money on your mortgage, right? For those people who might be impacted and their salaries are impacted, see if you can lower your mortgage. Take cash out to do work on your home, because typically cash out loans have a higher interest rate than a rate and term loan.
yeah,
But now with rates so low, I mean, you could still be in the threes on a cash out, which
yeah,
isn't normally the case. Um, and then shortening the term, I mean, you could save hundreds of thousands of dollars by going to a 15-year or a 20-year or 25-year. I mean, the goal is to pay less interest, right? So there's definitely lots of options out there for people to do stuff and better their situation, whether depending on their goals,
So it
you
makes
know.
sense just to look into it, see if it makes sense for you, because it doesn't make sense for everybody. But
No.
for some it does, and if it does, maybe call me up. I can connect you with Joe. The other thing that I sometimes help with is with Joe is the value. Okay, where are we at as far as removing the PMI? Do you need to get the comps to see where it's going to come in? Because this might
Yeah.
also be a really great opportunity to remove that PMI. Prices are still high.
Yep.
Interest rates are low, which means that you may be able to remove that. And if that makes sense, I can always provide you with the comparables. See if you can go ahead and remove that. And PMI, I mean mortgage insurance, if you put less than 20% down.
Yep.
Um, so that's also an opportunity right now, too, with the interest rates being so
Low.
low.
Yeah. There definitely is opportunity, and it's worth looking into, right? Ultimately, you don't have anything to lose, to just see what your options are, and just, hey, what does this make financial sense? I always use the term financial sense because you
Absolutely.
don't want to take one step forward and two steps back, right? And you don't want to do something you look back and go, gosh, that was a really dumb idea. I can't believe Joe told me to do that. I'll never tell somebody to do something like that, right? Like the numbers don't pencil out, don't do anything. You leave good
Yes.
enough. You
I've
leave
been
good enough
wanting a
alone.
15-year, and you won't let me get a 15-year because it doesn't pencil out, which I get very upset about. But
Doesn't pencil out.
it just, for some reason, it doesn't, which upsets me. But that. So yes, I know that you won't tell someone to
No.
sign
Yeah,
something
if it
that
doesn't make
doesn't.
sense, I'll be like, no, don't do it. And,
Yeah,
people, sometimes I get weird faces from people. I'm like, I wouldn't do it.
yeah,
If it was my house, I wouldn't do it. And they're like, damn, you're serious. Yeah.
yeah.
So, I think you just have to be honest with people, because if you're not, it'll come back and bite you, right? People
Absolutely.
know if you don't have good intentions, people, it shines through.
So
So
can we talk about some silver lining in all of this? Is you've been able to be home with your family more,
I
and
have, yeah,
you have a new puppy, which is
we do.
sleeping, so you can't wake her up.
She's
Um,
sleeping. She sleeps
she,
a lot in weird
yes.
positions, which is awesome.
So is there anything else that has been kind of a silver lining for you, or that maybe you've learned, or I know you haven't picked up a Peloton habit, so
I was on the Peloton today and
okay,
yesterday, so I'm working on bringing sexy back. That's one of
okay,
my things.
okay,
That's one of my things. No, I've learned that I can work from home,
okay,
right? Which I didn't think was humanly possible. I thought I always had to be in the office, which is kind of
yeah,
cool.
uh-huh.
Um, and it's been kind of fun. Oh, you can't see because I have this fancy background, but I've
And
been
you're trying
sharing.
to copy my background, which is mine's actually real, and yours is
Mine is no. I read all those books. I don't know what you're talking about. I've read every single one of those books.
sure.
But I've been sharing an office with my little one, which has been cool. Because when she does school, we're both in the same room, so that's been cool. I mean, honestly, I'm a glass half full guy. Like, I'm home for dinner every night, which I'm never home during normal life.
Yeah.
Um, got to do school with my kid. I'm helping her more with homework. Like, I'm being more of a dad and still able to get work done. And so it's been kind of cool for me to be able to do that. I feel like I've had a lot more balance. Not a
I think
little
we're
bit.
all learning things about ourselves that we just never knew. And I think it's taking a look at those things. Um, and then also, seeing the things that we love and we don't love about our homes as we walk around, like, oh, I could change this and that. I think we're probably going to get a lot of that. And I've had those conversations as well.
Yep, for
But
sure.
I think that there are some positive things that we're all learning and getting used to. And
Yeah.
hopefully we can be let out soon.
Finding new shows on Netflix,
Yes.
right? Like spending
Yes.
some more quality time with the family. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been good. Nobody has been injured in the Soto house. So it's been nice. But yeah, I miss the office. I like going to the office and
Yeah, you
having
have a
that,
good
like,
team too.
yeah,
Well,
I like to get out.
thank you so much for coming on and educating
Yeah, it's just
us
cool.
about forbearance and the interest rates, because I know a lot of people have questions about it. So if you need Joe's contact information, let me know. I can get it to you, help you out, and obviously if it makes sense, or if you have any questions about the values. So thank you so much, Joe, and I will see you hopefully in person really soon. So
Yeah,
I'll take this.
maybe we can meet at the Starbucks drive-through.
Oh,
We'll pull up like cars. I'll be in front, you be in back, and that could be
okay.
like as close as we get.
So real quick, did you see my post about the new Starbucks drink I discovered?
I did. We could
Okay.
rendezvous. It'll be a coffee meeting, and that
Yes.
we'll never get out of the cars.
Sounds
It's so
good.
weird.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks, Vanessa.
Alrighty.
All right. Later.